Hi, Dana, and welcome to the Dirty 30 Chats. I am thrilled for this chat. We've just had a quick touch base just now, and I just know this is going to be a good one. And yeah, thank you so much for making some time in your morning.
Thank you, Sarah. It is such an honor, honestly, to be here to share this space with you and to just have an honest conversation about life with the intention to inspire other women and support other women in whatever stage they're going through.
I love that. I want to get started into today's chat by just a very simple question. I would love to know at what point of your 30s are you at the moment?
I am freshly into it. I turned 30 in February. It is May, so I'm 30 years old in 3 months.
Welcome to this wild decade.
Thank you. I'm ready for it.
Epic. To get into this chat, I would firstly want to talk about the incredible brand and business that you've built, Dance Lightly. And I would love to know a bit about what this business entails and where this idea is born from.
Yeah, I would love to share. So, Dance Lightly was honestly inspired by my travels between Indonesia and Hawaii, connecting to the ocean with different cultures, different people. It guided me to grow aware of this inner desire for lightness that I always had deep down and how I learned to do it across the water, but really what it meant to translate that lightness and this dance into my day to day living on land. The brand entails surf and self awareness, is what I have always marketed it as. I think surfing for me has been a portal to connect deeper to myself. And it's been another just deep honor to be able to facilitate and guide and support so many, not just women, men as well, so many people through this journey of dancing lightly.
I love it. And it's the name, as a marketer myself, it's so on point because without knowing obviously how you move through life, but just the way you move on a surfboard is incredible. Like you're literally dancing, a ballerina on the water, which is just so on point. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you. I think I really learned that, yeah, dancing on the ocean is a light. You have to be light on your feet, quick on your feet, but subtle and soft as well. And the more time that I spent connecting to nature, I realized that it was also about the lightness and the intention that I took with every step and the way that my feet would kiss the earth as well.
So beautiful. Have you always been a surfer? Is that something that's been in your life since forever?
Yes, my first wave, I was 2 years old on the front of my father's board. And I started being pushed into my own waves when I was about 5. It wasn't until I was about 12 years old that I started to get more serious, we could say, into the sport. But yeah, the ocean and surfing has been part of my life since I was very young.
Were you born and raised in Hawaii?
No, I grew up in San Diego, California, which is another very rooted part of surf culture, Southern California. Yeah, my father, my uncle were both surfers. I'm an only child, and my cousin is an only child, so we grew up spending a lot of time at the beach together. And I'm incredibly thankful for those moments. Yeah, they defined who I am.
That's incredible. I would love to know now, in reflection to you as a woman, now in your 30s, when you think back of your early 20s, what did you imagine life would look like now in this point in time?
Honestly, I thought that I would be married with kids already. That's been the biggest dream of my life since I was a young girl, is to be a mom and have a family. But life had other plans for me at first, I guess. I've finally, truly this year have accepted that part of my life will come with divine timing. And it's not something that I need to seek for anymore. I just need to focus on myself. And that's what I'm doing. I also think that my soul always knew deep down I had an impact to make on the world before I settled down to be a mom and be present with my children and my family.
Absolutely. So well said. And yeah, look, if this helps in any way, I find that there's so many of us that have that maternal calling that definitely strengthens as you enter this decade. Personally, something one day, and I think you've just already like tapped into this, something shifts and the rush to get somewhere eases and the focus becomes on oneself, knowing and trusting that there is that path for you later on. And that trusting in your own timeline is probably one of the biggest blessings that I have felt that has come with my almost mid 30s.
You said that so beautifully. Thank you. Exactly.
And going back into surfing now, was there a moment when this sport, I guess, shift from something so physical into this kind of like spiritual connector in your life? Is there a moment that you can recall?
Yeah, well, I grew up a competitive softball player, and that was something that I loved, but also something that was very pushed by my family to provide a future for me into college, free college, getting a scholarship, etc. But surfing was always something that I got to do as often as I could when softball was not the priority. And when I was about 16 years old, I went to Hawaii with my best friend from high school and my mom to actually do like an interview with the college for getting potentially getting a scholarship and playing softball for Hawaii Pacific University. And I had already been really called to have more time in the ocean before that opportunity presented itself. But I had spent almost a decade of my life, and my mom spent a lot of her time and money and, will and desire to help get me to this place of receiving a softball scholarship. And I also, my parents divorced when I was 9 years old. That was definitely the biggest mark of my life, especially being an only child, having to face all of that alone. So the ocean was always the most stable place for me. It was always the most comforting place for me because no matter what the conditions were like, I always knew the feeling that I was going to get when I went down into the water, where at home it was never certain. So I think this connection to the ocean, I wouldn't say it was a clear moment, the spiritual aspect. It's always just been there for me. She has always been there for me. But the lifestyle is a very clear moment for me when I had this shift of letting go of this identity, this persona of a softball player, is when I moved to Hawaii when I was 18 years old. I moved by myself, running away from my childhood and everything that I didn't want to confront that was painful growing up in San Diego. And when I started working at Waikiki Beach with the Beach Boys, just being immersed with the people of Hawaii and seeing their connection to their ancestors through the ocean inspired everything for me. They showed me a lifestyle around the ocean was not only possible, but very purposeful. The tradition, the legacy, and the flow that having this connection to the ocean and being able to share that with others.
Wow. Even just from that moment you moved to Hawaii, I guess that connection, like you were saying, to the culture, the place, the water itself has become such a part in your life. Like now going from Hawaii to Indonesia, like it's still such a thread, right, in your lifestyle.
100%.
So incredible. And after this lifetime that you've spent in the ocean, what would you say are like some of the biggest lessons the ocean's taught you? Like you were saying before, in like how you move or how you are as a human.
I think for me, there's so many things as surfers, as water women and people. There's so many lessons and so much support that the ocean provides for us. But I want to keep this really simple and digestible for people. The most graceful way through life is to change with the tides as they turn and be patient for what you are seeking.
Wow, that gives me goosebumps. That is so beautiful. So true.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I was sitting down by the ocean reflecting on, our conversation, and that sentence just flowed to me from the ocean. I felt like she just, like Moana, if you've seen the movie Moana, when the water comes up over the little girl and it's just like standing around her, that's how I felt in that moment with this sentence. It just came to me and surrounded me.
It's so funny that you just mentioned Moana when you were just talking about Hawaii and the Beach Boys. I was literally picturing you as Moana at the beach with all the Hawaiian Beach Boys. I love this. Definitely a spirit, cartoon for you. I absolutely love this. And isn't it crazy? Hey, I feel like it's in those moments when these like messages come to you, one can feel so minuscule on this earth, and the power of everything else moving around you in such an abstract way, but sending you the messages right when you need is something that I will just never get tired of. Like I think it's that mindset. In a way, there's this sense of trust in receiving what needs to come, and then it's when these messages come through.
Yes, definitely. And another thing I was journaling this morning is and asking kindly, praying for the ocean and source life to continue to use me as a vessel to channel wisdom and love and messages of flow, essentially, and connection to self and the water, like you said before.
Yeah, you definitely like, just even in the brief chat we've had today, I'm like, you're definitely channeling that so deeply. It's so beautiful. I guess this next question is coming from someone who's also an expat who has started from scratch many times in this lifetime. You've lived like in some incredible places. We've talked about San Diego, Southern California, Hawaii, now Indonesia. What does the concept or the word home mean to you at this point in your life?
And this is what's funny. This is the question I was journaling about yesterday.
Oh,
So divine.
divine timing,
So divine. I
totally.
love the alignment in our purpose, I think, for sharing and connecting is just so beautiful. But yeah, I was had an emotional day yesterday, like we all do, and I finally was able to get out of the house and go down around close to sunset time with Ludo, my dog, for a little afternoon dip at a big quiet beach. And yeah, when I went under the water, all of these words started coming to me. I searched for the feeling of home throughout my entire 20s. I left my hometown because of the pain that it caused me and the bad memories that I had. They overrid the positive ones, only to discover that that feeling of home is inside of myself. It always has been, and it always will be. I'm going to get emotional. Once I started to truly accept every corner and crevice of my body and mind that I had been avoiding and running away from, and I focused on deepening my connection to myself and the elements of nature, I realized that home was right there inside of me all along. And all I had to do was be honest with myself and my experiences. And the ocean has definitely been a mirror for me with this because she never lets me hide from the truth. Thank you for asking.
Wow. Thank you for sharing. That is very powerful. I can so resonate with that same feeling. And I know many people also do. And what a blessing to come to that conclusion at this point in life, right? And not when you're old and sick. And, like what a blessing to be young and realize this and let that older narrative maybe fade, or embrace the new perspective as to home for me is such a different meaning to what many other people call home. Many other people call home that
Mm,
grounded stability on the hometown that they've had their lifelong memories and their lifelong people, whilst us nomads and travelers, it's something innate that is just propelling us onto the next thing, and you can't really explain it, but inevitably you're constantly shedding and you're constantly shifting, and it's a hard path. It's so hard, and sometimes nothing makes sense, but you know you are exactly where you need to be, and the pain is horrendous and the loneliness can feel immense, but there's not really a rational explanation as to why. It's just, this is it. And then when you go through that, I find, and this is me now talking in first person, when I go through that path of discomfort, that depth of home becomes so clear. Like, I could be anywhere and feel at home.
I am loving where this conversation is going. And I relate to everything that you just shared, definitely from so deep in my heart. And yeah, being a fellow nomad as well. Another thought that came to me as you were sharing that was everything is temporary. And having this attachment to an idea of a place and even other people of home, I think can provide even more discomfort and pain, because losing that, you're left with quote, quote, nothing. And that's when you have to go inside of yourself and inside of your heart.
Yeah, beautifully said. Yeah, it's when you stop and reflect, you're like, I often just catch myself thinking, what a crazy life.
Mm,
And the wisdom, I think, and the level of acceptance and the detachment, I think is like, it has been one of the biggest lessons and again, blessings for me to move through life lighter, in a more flow state, to embrace what comes and goes. And it's so liberating
definitely.
coming from phases where I might have been in like full control and everything was just not working and being like, why is it not working? And then that flow state and that detachment can really just help ease. Yeah. I'm so curious about living your life in Indonesia. How many years has it been since you've been there?
This is 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask because obviously Indonesia has this magical, I find, lifestyle and way of being that is so anchored into this like kindness and presence and no rush. I'm curious to know how this slower life has changed you or your approach to life, if it has.
Oh, definitely has. Not the same person, in a good way, that I was when I first came here. And this question, I want to just start by saying that this country is my favorite country in the world. I've traveled a lot in my short but long life, and I love Hawaii. Very grateful to have grown up with an American passport and for my experiences as a child and young adult in America as well. But this country also might get emotional as I speak about this, because I prayed for this for so many years, for a slow life connected to nature and simplicity. And I worked incredibly hard to build this life for myself. Lots of sacrifices, lots of loss, lots of lack of support, and even understanding from family and friends. Living in Indonesia has completely changed my life. And I truly think it will forever be one of the thing I am most grateful for in my life. Sorry, I'm getting caught up on my words, the emotions. This country, these people, and their way of life and connection to their culture, just wow. If you've been here, you know, you know. Being American, as I mentioned, I grew up with very different priorities, a different perspective on the way things work. But from a young age, it never felt aligned to me. I grew up with a lot of attachment, like we were just chatting about before. And being here in Indonesia, I've truly learned to accept everything is temporary. And the less that we grip, the more we have. The more we share, the more we receive. And the more we slow down, the more time we have. I've learned to value life with my heart, not my mind. And I've learned to appreciate every single moment of every single day, no matter what it looks like. And I just, let me have a moment. Let this gratitude pass. These are tears of gratitude. I just want to say in Bahasa Indonesia, terima kasih banyak Indonesia untuk semua cintamu. Aku bersyukur untuk setiap momen di sini dan semua orang. I just said thank you so much, Indonesia, for all of your love. I'm so grateful for every moment here and for all of your people.
So beautiful. Yeah, it's as someone who has only just traveled through Indonesia multiple times, it's something magnetic. It's something that you just don't find in the rest of the world. And I can't even imagine becoming a local, like just 8 years in, the power that that has in your life and the perspective with which you see the rest of the world now must be mind blowing. Excuse me, like the friction, I guess, that one needs to overcome living this slower life and then continuing, traveling through the world where the rest of the world has a complete different pace and lifestyle, and just seeing it all and taking it all in and being like, you are such a fluid human to be able to transverse these cultures and lifestyles and still feel at home in one and the other, the duality.
That's another thing Indonesia has taught me is adaptation, because there is so much going on in this country. There's so many people, and there's the government can only support so much of the country, so much of the people. And so the Indonesian people, especially when you get out into the deep villages, they're so connected to their land and the weather and their community. And you could be driving and your bike runs out of gas in a place that you've never been, with people that you don't know, and you might not even be able to speak the same language with them, but they'll do everything to help you. They'll put down whatever work they're doing, whether they're farming or cooking, whatever it is, and they'll all run out and come and help you. And communicate with your eyes and with your smile and your hands, and just this feeling in your heart. Invite you in for a coffee to come sit with them and their grandma and their grandma's sister and their sister's kid, whatever. The whole family will be there. They could have one last bowl of rice and their last cup of coffee, and if you needed it, they would extend that to you. And I'm gonna get emotional again, especially being American. It's just not like that. So to really learn to slow down and just give what you can has been such a blessing.
Yeah, I'm in awe of the fact that you get to experience that on a daily basis, and I guess the expansion that that does to us as individuals, being like, wow, this is possible. This is not just in my head, the fact that I want society to be kinder. This exists, and it's such a gift that you get to experience that on a daily basis, so that then you can actually propel that into the rest of the world. And I think that's where individual action is so powerful, for a collective to actually see and be like, okay, this is possible. So yeah, so grateful for you sharing all of this, because it's so inspiring.
Thank you. I was just going to say, I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you. It means a lot. I guess very connected to just this topic that we covered, how has your definition of success, again, coming as from America, and in my case from Europe, we have very clear concepts of success, and how has that changed now after this lifestyle you've built in Indonesia?
Beautiful question. Success now means to me that just a happy life, a truly happy life inside of my heart, in my body, one that I can share with others, one where I can just witness and be a part of the beauty of nature and people, and have the ability to explore the depths of my own soul. It's not having a big house and an unhappy marriage, driving a nice car to a job that I can't stand, or living in a city of luxury with no deep connection to others. It's being able to wake up every single day and look up at the sky and just say, wow, how incredible is that?
Hmm.
That is success to me.
Yeah. What an insane feeling, hey, when gratitude just becomes such a wave in daily life, like the simplest of things just bring this like deepest level of joy that you just wish so many more people could experience. And I can so relate to that feeling when I am on my morning walk along the beach here and I'm just like, wow, even after 7 years, I'm like, just wow. It's such an incredible feeling to feel, which is, yeah, so powerful.
Yes, and I agree. I have been in the last few months really feeling this call to prayer, not from a religious perspective, but from a spiritual perspective, feeling this call to prayer for our collective consciousness and for more people to feel this like almost undefined sense of gratitude and just no expectation, just true appreciation for the experience to exist. Because we were all, every single, however many billions of us that are on this planet now, we were all literally chosen to experience this. So I pray that more of us can just feel that being chosen and belonging to be here.
So beautiful. And I guess this might be trickling into a bit of where you're at now in this kind of shifting phase. Was there a moment that you can clearly like visualize that this ping or this calling came through, that something needed to shift? Is that something that you've experienced?
Yes, I would say I've had a few moments like that. Honestly, though, not anything that's super clear because my journey has been such a dance of highs and lows, so many waves. So yeah, I wouldn't refer to it as one specific clear moment. When I reflect back, I definitely can remember multiple moments of this. But I think the best way to share it is that it has evolved over time. The more I listen to my heart and soul and my intuition, the more I followed what I loved, not what others wanted me to love, but the more I followed what I loved, I grew aware that I had all these belief systems and thought patterns and habits that were not mine. And these were the real challenges that stood in front of me to create what I desired, that identity shift. And over the last maybe 3 to 4 years, the end of my 20s, I also started to feel an honor in feeling that it's my responsibility in this lifetime to change these cycles and this identity that have been placed upon not only me, but the people of my lineage, of my family that also came before me.
Wow. I'm just kind of like stuck for words because just thinking about the lineage and breaking those cycles opens this like kind of worms in my brain of the depth of that and how much, I guess, our generation maybe is really pivoting this forward, and there's definitely way more awareness and it's spoken of, and there's, yeah, I guess like a conscious level now that we can really take from that, the lessons, the history behind us, and really propel in like a different course, which is really empowering.
Mm, super empowering. I love that's also empowering. I love that you use that word is definitely something that I've been feeling more of in myself. And another thing that I strive to deliver to anyone that comes across my work or who works closely with me.
Yeah, and this actually is the perfect keyword for the next thing I wanted to ask you because you've been a space holder and a retreat facilitator with your own business, Dance Lightly, for so many years. after all of these years of holding space for women, if I'm not wrong, it's mostly been women in your retreats.
Yes.
Um, what struggles or longings do you see women share the most universally? Because obviously, all these women come from all parts of the world, different ages, different levels of surfing, and they come to this retreat. What's kind of like the things that you've observed?
I would like to start by just giving a shout out to every single person that has been on a retreat, a Dance Lightly retreat. It has been just thank you, thank you, thank you. If any of you are listening to this, I love you more than you will ever know. And it was such an honor to facilitate this space of transformation and connection. I think the the common thread with women, like you said, all over the world, all different walks of life, different backgrounds, different cultures, different ages. When I really think about it, confidence and connection to ourselves and our bodies. I believe society over, however many centuries now, essentially, drew us so far away from who we really are as women, our powers, our knowing. And I've seen that expressed through my guests over the years. And I definitely feel it is a purpose of mine to bring this knowing back into my life and into the life of the woman and the people that I work with, but more so woman because we are the creatrix of life. And that's why, as scared as I am to make this pivot in a new direction and walk a new path, I am also so excited to be able to bring this concept and this shift in woman with our confidence and connection to ourselves and our bodies.
I love it. And I can't wait for this new service offering to fully blossom and be out there in the world. I know you've already been teasing about it on your own profile. But I just, even knowing that you've been a space holder for so many years, the wisdom that already lives within you on top of your own personal experience, I think is like so priceless. And again, there's this resurgence and this like reclaiming now in womanhood, I guess, in general, to just really honor what is and the life path that we're choosing. And we need more of it, like the more we can all push for this empowerment and this level of confidence and giving no shit about what the rest of the world thinks, but just really owning what we want and how we look and whatever it is just music to my ears. And in line with this space that you've been holding for so many years now, are there any moments from these retreats that you've held that have really stayed deeply or created some kind of like wave in you?
I mean, so many. We hosted over 125 people at this point, and there's so many moments that have been, life defining and just that deep sense of gratitude. But the first one that comes to mind was a guest 2 years ago, and the way that her belief in herself shifted by the end of the week on this one particular wave. She had been surfing with a very low stance and closed off shoulders the whole week, just looking scared and lacking confidence. And I could see that fear and lack of belief in herself, whether she was able to see it and speak to it or not. And towards the middle of the week, I told her to take up the space that she deserves to take up out there, in the water and in her life, because we're also, through my retreats, having very deep and vulnerable and sometimes painful conversations about what is going on in our own lives. And on one of the last days, she paddled out to the lineup, and something had definitely shifted in her. And she caught a wave with so much confidence and joy. I've never witnessed anything like it, honestly. It will be forever seared into my mind. She stood up so tall on the board, shoulders back, heart out. And even we were everyone on the retreat was like screaming at her, eyes wide, just like, who is this woman? And at the end of the wave, she threw her hands up and just like jumped off with the most pure smile. And it's moments like that, but that moment that just is like, this is why I do what I do. And this is why I never gave up on this calling inside of my heart to pursue a life with and around the ocean, no matter the challenges that presented themselves along the way.
Mm-hmm. So incredible. I can't even imagine the rewarding feeling. That moment must be insane. And in this journey of helping women and people reconnect with themselves more deeply, what's helped you the most in your journey?
I would say learning to tune into my own inner world, my body, my intuition, my gut, my heart, and disconnecting from my mind. That's just noise, what goes on up here. Not saying that this has been easy and not saying that I'm the Buddha and have this all figured out. I am very aware that these are things that I will forever be bringing attention and intention to throughout my life. But learning to disconnect and tune out these external voices and noise that I believe point me and us in one direction or another that might not be true to ourselves. And really learning to tune into that voice, that whisper inside of my heart and soul, and where it's guiding me, what it's telling me to do. And the practices that have been most helpful for me with this are yoga, meditation, journaling, connecting with nature, and doing inner child work, learning to sit with and listen to my younger self and give her what she needed that maybe she didn't get as a little girl. And also, it's taken me my whole life up until now. Turning 30 was such a big shift for me internally, not in like, oh my gosh, time is running out. I have to get all these things done. Like, I feel what most people talk about turning 30, that was not my experience at all. It was this fuck yes. Like, I am ready. I know who I am. I know what I want to do. Yeah, but just taking time to connect with myself through these practices. Oh, and the inner child work has been also very powerful. But I think for almost a year and a half now, I've done yoga, meditation, and journaling. I've probably only missed 3 or 4 days in a year and a half. I've done it every single day. I made a commitment to myself at the beginning of 2025 that it was time for me to build that consistency in my routine to these practices because I've flowed with them since I've been doing yoga since I was 16 and got into journaling when I was 18 and meditating probably when I was like 20, like sitting down and meditating, not moving meditation through surfing and whatnot. So I've had these ebbs and flows of these practices and they've saved my life many times when I've had those lowest of lows moments. But learning to build this consistent practice with them, it's now a foundation for my life, for who I am.
Yeah, I really like that. And I find that really impressive because I think many of us struggle with consistency in adulthood in general, just because life gets so busy. But it's so important, like you were saying before, we're nothing like a Buddha figure. We're all figuring it out and going with the ebbs and flows, but just knowing that those tools are really what helps and making sure you've got that commitment to them is really impressive and inspiring, actually, because yeah, we can so easily let go of those practices, even if they make us feel good. But it's like, oh, we might feel lethargic. We might be procrastinating. We might just want to prioritize something else because it's more fun. But that just really helps anchor and disconnect from that loud voice that we all get and just tuning it a little bit lower, a bit of a lower volume to at least feel a bit more of the other good stuff is, yeah, really, really beautiful. I've got a very, very busy mind that doesn't really allow for much meditation, but 10 minutes usually is my max. And similarly, lately I've just been every time when I wake up, make a cup of tea, morning beach walk. Even when it's been raining, I put this funny poncho on because I don't want to carry an umbrella in my hands, and then make a cup of tea, walk. That already resets my mind, and then a 10-minute quick breathing meditation, and then I'm like, I am good to tackle the day. And it's funny, it's very simple, it's nothing, crazy out there, and that just helps me keep the mental chatter at such a lower level.
Yes. And by no means am I saying that these practices of mine look the same every day, you know.
Mm.
And meditation wise, if I feel called to do a long meditation, I will. But also for me, I really like repeating numbers. So my daily meditation is a minimum of 11 minutes. And yeah, if I want to go longer, I can, but a minimum of 11 minutes. And my journaling practice started with 3 pages a day from this book called The Artist's Way. I'm not sure if you're familiar of
Yes.
it. Yeah. So I very much so committed to that book at the beginning of 2025. And my journaling practice for quite a while was 3 pages a day. But then I was like, you know what? Realistically, let's just get 1 page. And sometimes I'm showing up in my journal, literally writing. I don't know what to write in my journal, but I'm still showing up for myself. I'm still taking the time to be here. And after, maybe I write that a couple times or whatever nonsense I'm writing in my journal. And after writing that, there's always at least one sentence of there that like, ooh, that was exactly what I needed to get out today. And also this just sense of gratitude and appreciation for myself for showing up. And with the yoga movement, some days it's an intense, long physical practice, and other days it's a very slow, gentle, more yin style practice. So I'm always allowing my practices to shift and mold and whatever season of life and however my body is feeling. But for me, the most important thing is just that I keep showing up and stay dedicated and committed to these practices and I guess the altar of life in myself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think in relationship to one of the questions earlier on, it's what continues to feed that home feeling when things are kind of like in balance and operating in a nice flow state internally, then you can just be so much more grounded, or I find myself feeling like that.
Definitely.
And you've mentioned Dance Lightly's moving from retreats into this more intimate one-on-one coaching and this offering that's brewing in the back. Is there anything that kind of like inspired this transition or this shift to this calling?
Honestly, this desire for more freedom, time freedom, financial freedom. Retreats are so beautiful, but they're also very demanding of my personal energy and time. And I don't think I'll ever stop doing them. It's just not going to be my identity anymore and not my full-time career. It's also, I just turned 30 and there's more things that I want to do in my life, which I need more money for and more time. And I really, the last 8 years of being in Indonesia, being away from my family, and all of this work that I've just shared on facing these parts of myself that I haven't wanted to face. This last trip home, I just spent the longest period of time in the States that I've had in quite a few years. I was there for 4.5 months, and it was so nourishing and so beautiful. And it made me realize that I actually want to be closer to my family now. I'm not angry anymore at the things that I was angry about because I've healed so much. I've sat already. I've sat with these painful emotions and these painful memories, and I brought light to them. And, with my family getting older, my friends, me becoming a godmother, I have now 2 godsons, and just being so far away, not being there for these moments. I really want to be closer to my family and friends. And I think also with my work, with the retreats, it's a very limited for who can attend. You have to have the money to buy the flights to go on the retreat. You have to have the ability to take the time off of work. And not everybody has access to that. And I know that I want to serve more people that don't have that financial abundance or time abundance. And so bringing my offerings online, the one-to-one mentorship will still be, a higher price point, but creating these resources and online course is going to be much more affordable and accessible to people that cannot come on retreat. And I'm really excited about that, to just be able to serve more people. So I think that this shift stems from a lot of different things. Yeah, but those are probably the biggest ones.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see these come to life. And something that was coming to my mind, it's kind of like a motto that I've been living by lately through recent experiences where I was finding myself attached to outcomes. And again, in this ebb and flow of life, we're not perfect. We detach, attach as we go. And I had it through recent dating experiences. I had it through different job opportunities where I was like, I am in my diversified portfolio era, as if I was an investor. Stop putting every single one of your eggs in one basket. We're going multiple baskets in life in general. And I feel like with that, it's actually really rewarding because it takes the pressure and the attachment to one single outcome to provide you the stability financially, the happiness, everything. And then it's like, oh, actually, I can do a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of that. And that completes the picture. So, yeah.
Definitely agree with this, also being a multifaceted human being and soul. Because, especially as women, we are the creators of life. And to be able to truly express that ability to create is also something that I would like to tap into more of. Yeah, having these multiple streams of expression, and also avenues of income.
Absolutely. And something personally that has really helped me embrace this side of me was when I think back to the moment I finished uni. And I was 22. I went I went on a whim to California. I've got one of my best friends is from there. She's from Santa Cruz. We hadn't seen each other since we were 16, and I received this like scholarship, and it was my last year of uni. So I was like, oh, I've got a little buffer to spend here, and hadn't seen each other in 5 years. And on a whim, I went to California for 2 months, and we had the best summer of our lives. And my whole life path since then, I guess that's like the moment I stopped following a linear path or what's like expected. In a way, I was, because I moved to Barcelona for work as a junior in a marketing agency, kind of like ticking the big girl, big city life goals. But then the moment at 26, I decided to move to Australia. My life has been so not linear. You can't put me in a box. People are like, I don't know what to expect from you. And I'm like, I know, I never know what to expect from myself either. Because one day it's this, and the next day I'm starting this other business, and my brain fires in many directions. And in recent years, I've actually just embraced that I am such a non-linear person, life path, journey, call it whatever, that I'm like, yeah, one day I'm this, but the next day I want to be that. And then I want to be able to come back to this. And that applies to work at the end of the day. It's like, why not? Why fit into a box or a label when it's not me in any way? And it's empowering to actually one day wake up and be like, I accept all sides of me, and this is me today.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing.
And okay, I've got one last question to wrap up today. Actually, I've got two questions before we wrap up.
Go for it.
I would love to hear in like a quick summary what this season of life and this like emergence of this new offering and, like the shifts that are happening. What does this season of life feel like or look like?
Tears are already filling the corners of my eyes because this is something that I've been sitting with a lot since I've come back to Indonesia after I just had this beautiful time home and became so clear on what I want next in my life. And I also am every day just getting so many signs, so much affirmation and confirmation from the universe that like I just have to keep going on this path, is really trusting myself. I think for a good majority of my life, I had this trust, but also like I allowed fear to override that. And I allowed judgment from myself and others to often take the forefront of my concern, this fear of being rejected as well. And I'm finally like, I've let that go. And I think this season of life, I know this season of life is truly about embodying, like you just said, embodying the woman that I am and the power that I have in my heart, in my hands to deliver and to serve our people and our planet. And it's just fucking trusting myself on this path, regardless of the challenges and the fear and the judgment that may arise, is just staying so focused and clear on where my feet are meant to take me and where my soul is pulling me on this path.
Yeah, definitely giving my body full shivers just thinking about this. It's thrilling. I guess that's the feeling. It's that there's fear, there's excitement, and that combination is thrilling internally where you're like, we're going. And some days you doubt yourself and some days you're just extremely confident. But that is the journey. Like that is literally what then can blossom into that true purpose, path, calling. So you got this. I'm just in awe of everything that, yeah, you've shared and so freaking grateful for this chat. I'm sure this is the start of many. I know you're coming to New South Wales in September. So keen to catch up and make this a real life hang.
Yes.
But I'm so thankful for you sharing all of your journey today. And I'm so, yeah, excited for what's to come for you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's been, again, an honor to connect with you. So much alignment in our stories, like we talked about, our purpose here for, empowering women and sharing the vulnerable truths of our life. Yeah, and I just appreciate you reaching out and making this work as well, to connect and have this conversation. Like you said, no matter if anybody listens to this or not, I had such a beautiful morning with you, and I feel so inspired in more ways.
Same.
And definitely the fact that I'm coming back to Australia as well in September, I cannot wait to connect in person.
Divine timing. My cup is overflowing. So, yeah, I'm so looking forward to it.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.